Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. My name is Carolina Perez, and I work in the Office of Catholic Campus Ministry within the Division of Mission and Ministry. And we're collaborating with the wonderful Center for World Catholicism and Intercultural Theology for our Cultura, Comida y Catolicismo series. As many of you may know, we have an event each quarter with wonderful guest speakers, delicious food, and some wonderful pan dulce and cafecito. So throughout the evening, feel free to go to the back, get some more food. On my left-hand side, your right side, you will see some pan dulce, some cookies, and you can make yourself a tea or coffee if you'd like. And so for today's program, we have two guest speakers. Fun fact, they're actually siblings. I know.
We won't do that for the rest of the night.
Also a tenured professor in the University of Dayton's Department of Religious Studies. She holds a PhD in constructive theology from her very own Loyola University in Chicago, and MA degrees in theology and educational leadership from, respectively, the Oblate School of Theology and St. Mary's, both in San Antonio. And if you'd like to learn more about Mary and breast milk, chisme, Latino Christology, and migrations, feel free to ask Neomi because she is an expert in those fields. And the second guest speaker is Micah De Anda, who's a professional lecturer in the College of Computing and Digital Media here at DePaul University. He holds a PhD in Technology and Humanities from the Illinois Institute of Technology. And if you'd like to learn more about communication of queer lived experiences and modes of knowledge production through games, you can ask Michael. And another fun fact about them is, besides being siblings, the last time they presented together was 13 years ago. And so, yes, let's welcome them with a round of applause, please.
Thank you so much, Carolina, and thank you to Bill and the Center for World Catholicism for inviting us. Another fun fact that I forgot to tell Carolina is I used to teach here. So I taught here from 2006 to 2010, and I was the first visiting scholar in the Center for World Catholicism and Intercultural Theology. I had a little desk and a chair and a printer, and they gave me a title. I was a graduate student. I was finishing my dissertation. So it's very fun to be back in a place that I really love and spent some of my early formative years in teaching here. So, and I think DePaul students are great. So great to be back with you all. Opening remarks, Mike.
Thank you for having us. We're really excited today to present to you. I teach in CDM, and my title's Senior Professional Lecturer. I got a promotion. My stuff, I really love games and play and thinking about how that helps us analyze our systems of world building. That's what is important to me. So,
sorry, we're new at this. We're 13 years old at this. Let me change this a little bit. Okay. We are going to start with playing a little bit with the Vincentian question of what must be done. And how are we going to play with it, you ask?
Through food.
A little bit through food, a little bit through these little things you're holding in your hand.
So we're going to reframe it through food, through play, from what must be done through what can be done. Our impetus for this is the logics between the two words, must and can. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about play.
Can I stop you for one moment?
Yes.
I also forgot to welcome all the people on the live stream, so welcome all of you at a distance, including our own parents who are tuning in.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hope you heard those ahs, Mom and Dad. Okay, go ahead.
So today we're going to be looking at play as a method for theologizing abundancia frameworks and worlds. By this, we are looking at certain terms. To start off, we're going to outline what we mean by play. So when I think about play, play and ritual in their studies serve key, or come out of the fields of anthropology. Both Johan Huizinga and Victor Turner have analyzed play and ritual in different capacities as liminal spaces, as safe spaces contained for examining larger systems. And Huizinga's thesis here is actually that culture comes out of play. So if we take Huizinga's theory of play seriously, we can actually think about how play reflects worlds, and we can use play to build worlds. What's important here is that we can think about how play invites moments for suspending about how we think about what we know and meeting something at a more vulnerable relationality. Play is a context where we have to be willing to open up to transformation through what we discover through this activity. And to frame this, I would like you to take the strip of corn husk that we have. Take a moment to think about what it is, what you think it is. Touch it, smell it. And then see what you can do with it. Try manipulating it. Does it tear? Does it rip? Does it crunch?
I'm hearing lots of crackling. I know one already tore in the delivery time.
So what are some of the things that you kind of discovered through playing with this little strip of corn husk about the corn husk itself? You can turn it, great, very playful too.
Oh, look, there's a heart over there. Hold it up, Catalina.
You have a heart.
What do you have? You're making more of them.
So this is what in design we call the properties and affordances of materials. This is an important part about both play and game design, where we can use materials to create kind of expressive modes of engagement. In this, we have discovered that corn husks, because they're dry, they're brittle, right? So we can break them, we can shred them, we can use them as confetti. They can be folded into hearts. And so through this, we've discovered different uses for corn husks.
And then just some basic terms, so we are all on the same page for continuing on. Theology, so we're here to talk and do a little bit of theology, and I'm trained as a theologian, so let's do that. The word theology, if you break it down into theo and logos, really breaks out to God, theo, and logos, which means word, but it's God talk. So anytime we are engaged in God talk, we're doing theology. I do it professionally, I get paid for it, I get to read a lot of books and write things about it, and do cool presentations and be with you all and have fun with it. But anyone who is engaged in talking, communicating about God is doing theology. So for a moment, let's take just a moment in being grateful for our corn, our little corn husk that may now be confetti. Mine's a knot. Somebody asked if we were going to make the dolls completely out of this. That was a good idea, but I don't think it's possible. I then said that this is really an escape room you all have entered, including the people online. And, and you can't leave until you've made a doll. No, I'm kidding. So take a moment to really look at this gift from God, from the earth, from God, and be grateful for it. Give some gratitude. And maybe turn at your tables and just give one word to each other of gratitude for something corn has done in your life. All right, I am glad you all are getting lively. We're not going to talk up here the whole time, but we'll ease in and out. So if you didn't get a chance to speak this time, we'll give you other opportunities. The second word, so I'm not just a theologian, I'm a Latina theologian. And Latino, Latina, Latino Shua, Latinoa, Latine, Latinx, whatever the word is today, these 6 months or 6 weeks. The theologies that have come out of these communities have specific terminology. One of those terms is lo cotidiano, or daily living, the daily lived experience, which also means mundane, unassuming, humble. And corn is a mundane, unassuming, and humble ingredient. And a corn husk, usually if someone had handed me a strip like this, I would probably just look at it and throw it away and not think about it. So in thinking with lo cotidiano, it means that we're paying attention to what is daily, what is mundane, what is humble, and what may be unassuming, things that maybe don't get paid attention to very often. And sometimes that's people as well. Often. And then the final term is a term I've been playing with a ton over the last year. And I've named it abundancia. I know it's the same word as abundance in English, but my first language was Spanglish. I grew up speaking Spanglish. I can speak Spanish, I can speak English. I'm translating it into both anytime I'm speaking one of them. I prefer to speak Spanglish. So we're gonna have abundancia for tonight. And so the concept of abundancia that I've been playing with comes from the word unda, that's right here. And this word, the Latin root of it is wave, like a sound wave. Or a frequency wave, a microwave. And I've been playing with this concept because it's something that I noticed Pope Francis using as a way to describe the fullness of life. And you don't necessarily find it in Francis's writings as Pope, but when you look back at some of his other writings, or the Salem document of La Parecida, you find that term in the Spanish translation, where he talks about it being the fullness of life. How do we find abundancia for all, for everyone on the earth, for all that is possible? And so part of that too is that it allows for the fullness of life, and that includes the notion that we are co-creators with God. I don't know why there's feedback. I don't think that really has anything to do with it, but it makes me feel better. I felt like I was going to attack me. It allows us to play with the fullness of life, and this fullness of life includes the notion we are co-creators with God and can create from little or nothing, just like we did with our little strips of corn. We created confetti and hearts and more strips of corn. And we can do this because we're created in the image and likeness of God, the term known as Imago Dei. In September, I had the great privilege of visiting Pastificio Futuro, which is a pasta factory in Rome. But it's not just a pasta factory. It's the pasta factory that was created by youth in detention. When Pope Francis asked what was most difficult about them being locked up, these are the youths that he would go on Holy Thursday and wash their feet. The youth named the fear of being released without skills and education for a sustainable future. Francis challenged them to design something which allowed them to attain these skills and education. And Francis told them to never let anyone steal their hope. So don't ever let anyone steal your hope. From there was born Pastificio Futuro, a pasta factory run by the inmates and open to the public on the grounds of the detention center. They acted in abundancia and they co-created a world of possibilities. And I recommend, not at this moment, but go on their website, read the stories, see what it is. It was incredible to go and be with them for just a little bit.
For the record, what's the website?
You'd have to Google it. I think it's pastificiofuturo.com. But don't quote me on that, even though I'm being recorded.
So with the terminology for abundancia laid out, I want to return to play for a moment because play invites us to think about the metaphysics of objects, or what I like calling the metaphysical pedagogy. So in design, what this helps us think about is that the object has properties, it has ontologies, it has things that we have yet to discover about it. And through engaging with it, we come to know these things more distinctly. But what that requires of us is that we set aside our biases about what we think it is and engage with it at a deeper level. And play is one of the ways that we can do that, as we have discovered already. So.
I'll go back. You go back to the can and we.
Yeah, sorry, right here. So back to the Vincentian question, what must be done? Or today, what we're going to talk about, what can be done?
So one of the reasons that we shifted this just a little bit is sometimes the word must is based in a scarcity framework. So if you want to know much more about that, I recommend, I think we would both recommend it, the book, The Serviceberry. It's a tiny little book by Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's an amazing book. It's really tiny and just great to read. In there, Wall Kimmerer, who's a biologist, talks about biology, but she is also Potawatomi, like the native community from just north of here in what we call Wisconsin now. And she takes her own native ways of the world, her cosmologies, and looks at seeds and thinks in these ways of abundance. But she talks about that so much of our thinking, so much of thinking that has come through the process of colonization is a process that makes us think about scarcity. So we run and we think about what is missing here. To do a doctorate, one has to think about what is not included in this field of thought. Like that is where we start from. That's a scarcity model. And how am I going to contribute to that? And that's why we're looking and trying to flip it with this notion of abundancia and the word can. So what can do, Mike?
So can instead offers a framework of abundancia, or mentality of abundancia, looking at the possibilities or potentials, each carrying speculative futures. So possible ways of world making. These are relationality-based realities. Here we turn to the word economies as a type of relationships, rethinking economics through being. Pardon? That's still music.
I don't know that
Is it just on? Is that better? Yay, okay. Economics. through relationships and relationship building. Here, instead of thinking about things through a scarcity model, Abundancia invites us to think about gifts and a gift-giving economy developed on relationships and relationality. Walt Kimmerer talks about how we store things, for example, where a scarcity framework might invite us to store things, perhaps think about like vegetables that have been in the drawer until they go moldy because you forgot about them. Abundancia would invite us to think about how or what purpose storage has. Walt Kimmerer talks about having excess meat. I think she says deer, and she tells a story about I store the deer in the belly of my brother. In the belly of my brother.
Or the brother of my belly in this case.
This is true. And what this invites us to think about is how we use what we have, the abundance that we have, as modes of gift giving. I give to, instead of storing and hoarding, I give my access to my neighbor. I develop relationships based on what I'm able to give, and in turn open myself up to what I'm able to receive from other people. Developing beautiful opportunities for encountering people, of developing closer connections that require vulnerability in very beautiful ways.
Well, and it's also about relationship building, and going back to the notion of economy and getting theological for just a minute again. So Catholics in particular believe in a Trinitarian God. That's a God who is three persons, one God. Each person has certain specificness. I'm just going to call it ness. This is my 30-second Trinitarian theology that takes hundreds of years for people to figure out, but you get it in 30 seconds. So the Trinity, as Catholics, we believe is in perpetual relationship of abundance, always within itself, but also always overflowing, so that Trinity that is in relationship within itself is also always in relationship with creation. And we call that the economic Trinity. So many times when we think about economy, what do we think about? Money, right? We think about money, but that's just because that's a source of exchange to build relationships in some way. So if we start thinking about the word economy as rooted as being in relationship and also being in relationship because we are both imago Dei, created in the image and likeness of God, and because God is always in relationship with God's self and with us, then it helps us to rethink how we're working within our relationships, but not just with human, with all of creation, with all of the world, with everything that we're given.
Returning to our question, CAN opens up opportunities for approaching this kind of relationship building and world making with curiosity. It's approaching this not as a scarcity framework of problems to solve, but problems to explore with each other. Problem identifying, if you will, rather than problem solving, and really coming to meet each other at a deeper connection where we meet realities with what one another is facing. This alludes to the Catholic social justice teaching of subsidiarity, which is that those with stake in a problem or those affected by a decision have voice in the conversations around that decision.
Are we ready to make some dolls? All right.
So we are going to make some dolls now.
So if my table volunteers will come over to help, and if you want to start leading people, we can get these passed out. Ooh. That's one person. So coming to you is a bundle of corn husks. Those of you here in this room, Mike, would you like to talk people through online of what they should be looking for at this moment in their homes or wherever they are?
So I imagine those of you joining online don't have corn husks readily available and soaked and ready to play with. I would suggest, if you can, going and finding that sock that you have that doesn't have a partner or has a hole in it, or some kind of rag, a t-shirt, something old, something used, something worn that you don't mind kind of reframing what it is today. It would help if it's some kind of material, and maybe some rubber bands or something to tie it off with.
If you're online, it's time to call on your imagination, maybe a little more than those of us in this room. Hold on, let me give you one more. Oh. Oh no. Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh, these are all. Here, hold it. Can you take a quick look? Yeah, can you take a quick look, Carolina, and see how many more we need?
How many more?
That one has 20.
Yeah, the last few have had. It can go in there.
How many more do we need? Not yet. Although, if you seem to have a bigger pile than someone else, could you please share a little?
Bigger pile, like you need 3 corn husks. So if you have more than 3, this is the moment to practice the gift framework and give your neighbor some corn husks.
You need these. Those. I'll soak some for you, Joanna. For you and I. Yeah. I don't have any either. Okay.
All right, so
They're not going to be as much.
does everybody have at least 3 corn husks? Okay, if If you have more, could you please raise your hand so we can distribute them?
Do people need some? Does anyone need corn husks? Oh.
You have extras? Thank you so much. Great. I have another set. Perfect.
Does someone need some? Do you want a set?
A couple extras.
Are those 3?
Does anybody else need any?
Did you want to make a set? One quick, Karen?
Okay. All right, so start by identifying which one the kind of thinnest corn husk that you have is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the thinnest. It could be that it has like lines in it or ridges. We're going to use that one to make the thread. We're not actually going to use thread. Part of what I want to emphasize with this is if you drop it on the way home, if you lose it, if you decide to give it back to nature, it will degrade back into the earth. So this is a biodegradable toy that we are making today. Okay. So I have 2 corn husks and my one that I'm using for strips. I'm going to lay my 2 corn husks on top of each other. And where they join right here at the bottom, I'm going to take a strip from my third corn husk. You can tear a thin strip. Ooh, that was a bad idea. Just like that.
So you all know I've never done this before either, so I'm doing it right in front of you live for the first time.
Okay. And then take your 2 corn husks, lay them on top of each other. And at the bottom right here, you're going to tie these together with that little strip that you made.
Right here?
Yes.
Like this little part right here?
So it's going to look kind of like a broom.
Oh.
And knot it as best as you can.
Does it need to be a knot, or can it just be tied?
It can be tied.
Okay.
Just make sure that it's secure-ish. And one of the rules that we want to lay out today is that your corn husk doll is perfect as it is, just like you. Just like you. That is perfectly fine. So what we're doing here is setting the foundation for the
It just
head.
needs to be like this.
Like half an inch, if that. Okay. So now, flip it over. And then you're going to separate the 2. And I would use my fingers and pinch right here and fold your corn husks over that. Okay, did you see that? I can show it off again. Here, pinch, fold. Take your third, tear another strip from it. Here. Oh, so, yeah, just like that. Yeah, just like that. Great job. Okay, so you should have this kind of bell shape. And what you're going to do with this strip, tie, and this is going to form the head.
Hold on, I think I have something I'm supposed to say at this point, right? So as you make your cornhusk doll, tune into your senses. What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you see? I see. So, you. Oh, okay. And as you form the head, what memories of corn do you have? Recall, bring them to mind.
It's been a little. That's great. All right. So take that third cornhusk that you've been tearing pieces off from, and tear three more strips off of it. So now you have this little, almost monito happening. It's kind of like a game bowl. And then you have your corn husk and 3 strands, right? With this one, fold it in half and then roll it together. Yep. So I have my corn husk. I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm just going to roll it. Just like that. Yep. That way. And then you're going to tie the ends. Here and here.
We're tying the ends here and here with these guys?
Yes, with the 3.
So you have your piece, your long piece of that, and then like this, and roll it.
Oh, were there questions? Yeah, okay. So, just, yep, roll it up. No, with the grain.
Is this?
So you should get this. Oh. So fold it in, like you had it, fold it in half. No, you're fine. And then roll it this way. There you go.
Like this? I'm supposed to get a little thing that looks like this, right?
Yeah.
I just had a small piece. Okay, I'm just going around to make sure people have this.
Perfect. Yeah. So you should have the grain.
So you all have your piece roll.
And then you're gonna tie the
mine
ends.
is very skinny. Yeah. But it's something like this. Yeah, see it? People have got it over here. Oh,
Yeah, and keep rolling
yeah.
it
It
like
should look
that.
like you're, yeah, that's better. I just had a little bitty piece. So.
Just like that. Because yours is so thin, I might actually just do it, like, don't fold it. Don't fold it, like, leave it open. Yeah, just like that, and roll it up.
You tie
the way
the
that
two
you
ends like this.
Just like that,
You
yeah.
take your 2 little strips and you tie one over here, one over here. He hasn't told us yet. No, mine is too small. But they're all perfect. You tie two other little strings over here on the ends, like that.
So the grain should be...
the grain should be the other way around.
Yeah. You're fine. Are you okay? That's fine. Creative liberty. Folded it in.
This is the very first time we did.
If other people probably tied it here.
Okay.
If you want to see, this could become the hair. Save it for now. We'll style it later. Okay, so the little roll that you made, it's going to be the arms. So you're going to open up your corn husk doll, and you're going to take your arms and you're going to put it right under the head. And then remember that third strip that we made? You're going to tie it around the waist.
No, se ve muy bien. No, mira. No, es que antes tenía cabeza, ya tiene cabeza. Okay, so as you style your body, and for those of you on the live stream, however you're doing this, what are the ways you are manipulating the corn husk, or what are the ways that you're manipulating whatever you're working with at home that you did not expect? So just think about that. What are the ways that you have manipulated the materials you're working with, the corn husks here or at home, that you did not expect? Mine has kind of these wild, like it's ready for a party. Oh, look at yours.
That's great. Yeah.
Look at this beautiful dolls. Okay, hold your dolls up as you're finishing them for the camera. Look.
So some things, like if you have some flyaways here, you could consider that how to tie it into like a hairpiece. These could be bracelets. Come up with the ideas yourself. There's no right or wrong answers. It's all play. Okay, so we're going to move on to some playtime and theologizing time with your doll. So what I'd like you to do is name your doll and give it a story. Here are some prompts, or you could come up with your own. What is your doll's coffee order? What sign are they? Or what food do they dislike? Once you have this information, introduce your doll to somebody.
Returning to the can question.
All right, so now that we've made our dolls, how do we revisit this question of what can be done? Or how do we turn it back to can?
I think we've lost control, which is incredible. Was our goal for the night, right? So here we are. But as you keep playing, we're just going to keep talking, and you can go back to listen in the video.
Okay, so we are going to connect this back to can.
What can be done?
We can use the corn and the corn husk doll to make playful introductions to those around us.
We can also use it to reflect and celebrate our own playful and creative processes.
We can take it home and play with it.
It can be returned to the earth.
It can be used to access rich histories of Native peoples, both indigenous to the Americas and from Celtic tradition, like Bridget or St. Bridget, from Irish folk traditions and Mayan creation myths.
From the Bubble. And we'll ask the organizers if they can send, because I think they have your emails, send a link to the Mayan creation narrative, which we were going to read to you, but we want to leave at least a little bit of time for question and answer. So, but do you want to do corn puns, Mike?
Time for some corn puns. So here we think about rather than incarnation, incornation, and instead of the term carnality. But in the act of building now, in the act of making these dolls, we're also futuring. In theory, we often think about future as something on the horizon. When we build towards future, when we do justice work, we're often working towards something that's on the horizon. But in the process of doing this, we are also futuring. We have futured, we continue to future as we play. By this, we have made something that does not have an environmental impact. How we use corn, how we make it with a criticality for the world around us, or how we make with a criticality for the world around us. These kinds of logics come from the native peoples of our land. Those things are passed down to us, and those thinkings are passed down and have taught us to think in these ways as well, in our behaviors, in our living, in our bodies.
So in our own incarnation, our own enfleshment of our bodies, we are incarnating through our dolls as well. And today you've created something new and built a new relationship with the world because of your creation. For those here in the room, your corn husk doll comes with something simple, mundane, humble, de lo cotidiano. Corn is a gift of the earth. To paraphrase Robin Wall Kimmerer, it is a life given, so we may have life. For those of you on the live stream, think about what life was given to create the source of your doll. Take time to say a word of thanksgiving for that life, which has now been given to sustain and nourish your life. In Catholic theology, like I said before, we use the word economy to mean relationship. The belief in a Trinitarian God, which is three persons in one with distinct roles, which are perpetual and infinite, are also perpetual and infinite with humanity. And that, remember, is called the economic Trinity. Co-creating with God and building new relationships builds new economies. This process can be a daily practice to change from mining and pillaging to abundancia and better relationships, which is the work of justice. That's our last slide, so we'll leave that one up for. And I think we just have a few minutes for Q&A, far less than we were asked to have, but hopefully you had some time to play with your dolls. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
So we have some time for Q&A, or you all can just sit and play with your dolls with each other. That's also completely fine. Oh, yes. Well, I was invited by Bill to talk on Catholicism and food, and since Mike teaches here, I thought it would be fun for us to co-present, so I asked if, I said yes, but if I can present with my brother. And then we started thinking together about what could be done, because we thought about, I wanted to do a tamalada, but clearly that is not, it's impossible in this time frame. So Mike helped me think about the corn husk dolls, and that's how we came to it. And just that we've both been working with the notion of corn. There's a whole other presentation that I've done that's called Sacred Corn, Sacred Wheat, that talks about the history of corn and wheat in the American continents, and how the Catholic Church decided to stick with wheat and some of the controversies around that. So there's a whole lot more there. Thanks for your question. Other questions? Oh, those are coloring sheets that come from the center that I direct. And a quick shout out, that's the image that's also up here on your table. If you like these images, if you're looking for someone who does graphic art, if you're thinking of becoming a graphic artist, they were created by a local artist here in Chicago who just graduated from Dominican University in December. Her name is Monica Pettit. And so she worked with me to create these Marian images, which are on your color pages. And then the colored images are on the image in the center of your table. Yeah, they're on every single table. And we have more to hand out if people would like to take them. And if you feel free to use those color pages, color them, share them freely as you wish.
When you guys were making the dolls, what memories popped up for you guys? How did you feel?
So this is the first time we actually made the dolls together in front of you. But making the presentation, do you want to talk a little bit about it? One of the things that we had put in and took out was the story of tamaladas and growing up making tamales together, and how that taught us that everybody, it didn't matter. If you can't tell, and I'll take it as a compliment, we're 15 years apart in age. And so I was in high school when Mike was born, but as we were talking about that, as we were creating this, he told me the story of the tamalada. And what do you remember most about that story?
Oh, yeah, it was like one, and our Nina, our godmother, put me on a stool by the sink and had me wash the corn husk dolls. The corn husks, not dolls. But had a bowl in there, and I just got to play in the water and wash the corn husks. And it was this moment of being included in the process that really showed me how to meet people at where they are and include them in these larger community building moments.
Which is also something that, as I reflect back on some of these stories, how there is an intergenerational pedagogy that is taught largely in Latinx communities, because we learn since we're little and we include everyone, and everybody starts learning processes through doing, and then maybe knows parts of it, maybe doesn't know everything, but things get passed on, and then the stories get created and keep building. So that's one that stands out. I don't know if there's any other story. I mean, we've been talking for quite a while, and even met this morning, and it's very hard for us to stay on topic because we start going down like a rabbit hole, and then we have like 7 more pages, single-spaced pages of things that we were going to talk about, but didn't get to.
Regarding like the philosophy of play and regards like anthropology and whatnot, how do you suggest people in the modern day can kind of like get that sense back? Whereas like obviously like video games and all that stuff that can kind of get people isolated. How do you suggest people get more involved in their own little community?
Yeah. Yeah, so how do we get people to play more? I think is what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's a great question. Like, like you could throw game nights or things like that. But I think there's something about making and playful making that invites us into a different space of world building and examining our own creativity. I would turn more to like crafting or like going outside and seeing like if you can forage together for stuff, and then seeing like if you can make a game together with the stuff that you forage. Yeah, something to get you, I think, moving together, exploring together, asking like fun, maybe silly questions, but like lowering the barrier of like what perfection is. I think that really helps drive this kind of spirit of community and playfulness.
Well, and even picking up a random object. So like you're out at dinner somewhere, and or you're together, you're in someone's residence hall. Is that what you all call them? I don't know. And just picking up a random object and saying, let's tell a story about this cup. And then you can start doing that and see where it takes you. I think is a really great way to engage some people. There's a book called Theater of the Oppressed by Augusto Boal. We did not talk about Boal at all, but that's a really great book that has some activities in there as well that have like you hardly need any materials for any of those activities. You've been really patient. No.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you could say a little bit. It seems like there's a connection between the piano and the Catholic idea of sacraments, kind of finding God in the material world, sacraments and sacramentality. So I wonder if you could say a little bit about that, Naomi, and Mike, if you could kind of reflect on that with regard to the virtual world, right? Is there something that can be sacramental about the virtual world, or are we losing something of materiality and sacramentality by the fact that so much of our play and so much of our world is now virtual?
Well, the notion of is my so the notion of sacrament, little s sacrament, is that we are humans engaged in a world and engaged with a created world. And so there are these small moments or glimpses of where we find God in all of these little moments and little times. And that's what I think some of these material things help with that sacramental existence, the connection to what gets us into that which is beyond us, that which is divine, and what in Catholic theology we call sacraments, little s, not the big 7 sacraments, but also that the big 7 sacraments have a type of materiality. All of them have certain things that you need to have, like baptism has water and fire, and confirmation also has fire, and certain words and symbols and motions, and even touching. So that's those are some of the pieces of how to think about Catholicism in the material world and our own moments of engaging and connecting more deeply. I think thinking beyond Catholicism in a much broader span, the notion of what did you call it, Mike? Metaphysical pedagogy is one way, and really this is just something that he told me as we were working through this, but I think is also another way to start thinking about this, and if you're working beyond the Catholic audience, could be something.
So then to address the portion of the digital that you brought up, I think there's this thought idea that we have that somehow the digital is immaterial. Like, yes, it exists on the screen, yes, it exists out there, but we always access it through material goods. It relies on materiality to exist. Like, we need physical servers. We need physical resources to power the digital thing, right? Like, if my phone breaks, I can no longer access that, right? And so I think it's less about this idea of the digital as being immaterial, and more of a relationship that we have somehow privileged the digital to be this concept of immaterial, when maybe we need to rethink our relationship to what the digital is, looking at how it is a type of material, how it is ephemeral, how if it didn't have these material anchors, it would cease to exist.
And when our devices lose electricity, we've lost access to all that is. So how many of us carry around extra batteries or the power cords, and we're looking for the outlets? But in your handout packet, one of the Marian images we created, Monica and I created together, is a Marian image that has her looking at a tablet. And I think that's very much looking at taking that same notion. So she's looking at a tablet and speaking, reading the Word of God, embodying the Logos, the second person of the Trinity. But she is using a digital device, so that's something that we did there, which also has a Sacred Heart in the back. So this was us trying to play with kind of that digital world, physical world, sacramental, connecting in with God.
If you look at some game designers' philosophies, they actually thought about co-play as a meaningful experience for building community. This is the idea that, like, even in a one-player game, say like Neomi is playing Super Mario Brothers, and I'm player 2, or the idea here is that she takes a turn and then I take a turn. I am still learning as she plays the game because I'm able to watch what she does. And then in this kind of co-presence, as I play, she then kind of tells me or gives me hints, and we kind of work together to build our collective knowledge of the game too. So I think there is also deep insight into how humans engage in the digital, but it has to do with how we conceptualize our core designs when we create digital things.
We are also way over time, so.
Gracias. Thank you so much for bringing this image of lo cotidiano before us. A couple of years ago, we printed through Big Shoulders books, kind of a collection of short stories on immigration. And one of them was about a little girl who used to play with these dolls when she was, back in Mexico, and she didn't have any money. Her father didn't have any money to actually buy her a real doll, right? And so, that is something that we take for granted, probably most of us. So something so innocent, yet, the hat, full of meaning.
She had access.
She finally got ahead, you see? But thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neomi and Michael. We have a tradition at DePaul called the shared coin tradition, and it comes from a metaphor that Vincent would use. And he would say that a coin, if you saw a coin on the ground, it was all beat up, but if you pick it up, you would turn it over and see and acknowledge the brilliance of it. And so he referred to the marginalized community. When we think of the marginalized community, we may think that community is beat up and scratched, scarred. But there's actually a lot of beauty and brilliance in that. And so thank you to Naomi and Micah for uplifting the Latinx community, especially during times like these. So we appreciate you, and we would like to gift each of you a coin, a shared